Hey, welcome everybody to Everyday Asphalt, the road trip edition. My name's Jim Warren with Tack. I'm glad to have you guys here today. The purpose of this program is to go a little bit deeper in the areas of materials, design, construction, and maintenance, and to kind of talk about how all they work together. All these programs are uploaded to our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, type in Tack, and look right there on the front page. Right up, click on the like button, subscribe, share with your friends. But right on the front page there is a playlist called Everyday Asphalt. So all these programs will be right in there. We encourage you to look at the rest of our channel. A lot of other good programs on there for everybody, and we're continually trying to put more stuff on there. And we got a lot more stuff planned this summer, specs and other kinds of stuff as well. So big resource. We're also on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, so you can download this and listen to it in your car. I know you do a lot of that.
Absolutely.
And I do a lot of that as well, almost every day now. I don't even really know how to use the radio anymore.
All podcasts, yeah.
Our guest today is Chuck Fuller, Tack's Ambassador of Quality. Welcome back to Everyday Asphalt, Chuck.
I appreciate the invitation to be here with you today.
Normally we do kind of an interview with the people, and we've actually we've done Chuck before. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But we're gonna talk about today something we don't talk enough about, and that's actually the non-TxDOT market. Now hold on, TxDOT folks. There's stuff in here for you, but I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Talk about a brand new publication we've got. Chuck's holding it up there. A brand new asphalt pavement design and construction guide that we just came out with.
Yep.
And just about a month ago.
Yeah, just for maps. So
yeah, just for the Managing Asphalt Pavements program. Yeah. So it's brand new on the street, and we want to talk about it today and then tell you how you can get a copy of it, and we'll go from there. So let's try, Chuck. I'm going to go ahead and start driving. Let's put things in perspective here.
Right.
And TxDOT, big estate. Well, I mean, Alaska's bigger, but we got more asphalt.
We got more asphalt than they do.
So let's talk a little bit about
market share.
Market share.
Yeah.
Market share. So how big's TxDOT?
TxDOT averages around 13 million tons.
All right. That's a lot of asphalt.
That's a lot of asphalt. They've been as low as 10 and as high as 17. So over the last 9 or 10 years, it's been 13 million. I'm going to say 13 million tons. So
it's averaging pretty close to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. They let just about 1 million tons a month. So it's it's a pretty good market share. But when you look at what is available throughout the whole state, and we're talking about cities, county, municipalities, and even commercial, there's 30 million people in Texas right now, a little more. And Napa has a ratio of 1.9 to 2.0 tons per person, right?
Whoa.
And they also have it broken down by registered vehicles.
Okay.
And when you take it all into account, there's about 55 million tons in Texas a year.
A year. Wow.
So I mean,
TxDOT, our single biggest customer.
Yeah.
But when you add up the rest of it, the's a lot of other asphalt.
There's a lot of other asphalts.
Wow.
And these cities, like City of San Antonio, Austin, these larger municipalities have bonds. The road bonds. The City of Austin's road bond was over $1 billion. So that's for all construction. But there's a lot of flexible pavements here. As you know, there's 90% or 95% of all the roads in Texas are flexible pavements or asphalt. So
good deal.
It's a huge market. It's a huge market, and we really need to pay attention. Hence the reason why we spend a little bit of time with maps. It's a 3-day conference.
Yep.
And that's for cities and counties and entities that
very successful. About a month ago in May here, beginning of May, we had it this year, and up in Waco, and we're still trying to figure out what our plan is next year, but we oriented a lot towards this document we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And so really trying to make sure everybody's on the same page.
And we put a lot of energy and effort into this document and into looking at cities and counties.
Sure, absolutely.
It's very important for our industry.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
it's real important for our industry.
So okay, let's go a little bit deeper here. obviously, everybody knows Chuck was a contractor for many, many years, and retired and came to work for Tack and has been just a godsend for us, and just helps us in so many ways. In addition to that, just bringing the contractor perspective that I don't have, that Harold doesn't have, that nobody else has in the office. We're association folks, but so having that background is really super critical. So obviously, when you were in the area, you worked this area. You worked from what area did you work?
Yeah, so mainly Central Texas.
Texas.
So San Antonio, Austin, but we've gone as far as Lubbock. We've done work up in Lubbock, and as far south, as Corpus. So,
okay.
But generally, we were in this Central Texas area, working with the cities and the counties and TxDOT.
How many is that?
Yeah, that's
a lot.
That's the issue. Is there was a lot. So
I mean, obviously, from that perspective, obviously, what did you learn? What did you learn about working with all those different municipalities? What was your takeaways? What were your challenges? What did you see?
So because they were all different, they all had different specifications. They all had different expectations. They all had different thought processes.
That's a good. I like the expectations and specifications. Okay.
And so and when you working with the municipality, whether it's a city or a county, there was always something that came up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's within the specification or whether it was within the actual construction, there was always something that you had to deal with. And when you're dealing with unknowns, these unknowns,
mm-hmm.
it really puts the burden on the contractor to be able to, either put in their bid these unknowns.
Hopefully that it won't happen.
Yeah, that it won't happen.
Or protect yourself if it does happen.
If it does happen. So
so that's the big R word.
That's it.
That's the risk word.
That's the risk word, and I'm glad that we have this document here because we're going to talk a lot about that as we come up.
Mm-hmm.
But really and truly, the cities and the counties, they used a lot of CE&Is.
Okay.
In other words, they used outside sources.
Sure.
And
sure.
so
they're limited. So they'll bring in the expertise when they need it.
And those individuals, really after the job bid,
mm-hmm.
Then it was brought back down to the city or to the county, and there's no skin in the game from the individuals that brought it to that point.
Okay.
So there was a lot of just a lot of opportunity that we really and truly had to take a look at.
Sure. Sure.
But
go ahead. Please,
well,
please.
But half of the work when I was at Ramey, half of our work was with private, the private market.
Okay.
And the other half was with the public market, including TxDOT.
Okay.
And we did a lot of work as a subcontractor, and we did a lot of work, for individuals. And what I've learned is that we needed to have a uniform specification that we can all deal with, whether I'm dealing with the county or the city. Travis County and City of Austin have two different specs, and you could be doing a city job and then come around and do a county job,
mm-hmm.
and
in
the same day.
I'm going to turn around here and get back the other way. Okay, good deal. So obviously the takeaway there, I think that's the one thing that we've kind of seen in some of the stuff that we've done is just that lack of consistency. Is city A or county A has this spec, city B, county B has that spec. They may not even be they're not even the same mix designs.
Yep.
And so from a producer standpoint, talk to me a little bit about that. If you've got, if I'm making one mix a day versus 5 mixes a day, what does that do to your ability to make, production and make quality and consistency? What does that do for that?
That has always been the issue, is when I had 2 different specifications and I'm running them at the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a turn lane going into a subdivision. The subdivision is the city, the turn lane's the county, and they're 2 different mixes. And it creates havoc. And really and truly, the city or the county might not get what their specification actually calls for,
Okay.
because I'm making two different mixes.
Okay.
And when I take that into consideration, I take that into consideration during the bid time too, And
Yeah, if you got to make 50 tons of this one product versus it's 50 tons of a product that I'm making all day long, that's a completely different view.
the risk is just it's enormous, And then when it's all said and done, the quality goes with consistency.
Sure.
So, I mean,
Sure.
it's the same
That
thing
makes
with
sense.
continuous pave. When you do continuous pave, whether it's 100 tons or 1,000 tons, the way to get quality is to do it continuously and not to do stops and starts.
Right.
It's the same thing with your asphalt plant. The way that you could get the most consistent quality mix is not starting and stopping.
Gotcha.
Not starting and stopping new mixes.
Gotcha.
And so I'm a firm believer that we should all be on the same page, and we should all be able to work off of one specification that's successful, a successful specification.
Gotcha.
And so I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that coming up. But
Yeah,
that was
so-
my biggest complaint, was that we had all these different mixes and trying to make everything work.
Now you multiply Chuck by 500, and you'll get a sense of the industry here in Texas. I don't know if I could do with 500 to you, but it's always worked for contractors. So that's kind of what this guide's about. And so we wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about it today, introduce it to you again, talk to you about how we can get a copy of it, and maybe through this idea we can hopefully kind of tighten things up and just make it more consistent. And if it makes it more consistent, we get better quality. And for reality, I mean, we're driving through a town right now. We were in the county here a second ago. It's the same road, it's the same traffic. Why do we need to have completely different designs and thicknesses and all that kind of stuff? I think we could make things so much easier.
Absolutely.
And so much more consistent. And again, consistency, quality, less risk, better pricing, easier to construct, that sort of stuff, and not making anything harder than it would be. So first part of that book there really just talks about asphalt, kind of the why asphalt deal. So I mean,
the benefits of asphalt.
yeah, why asphalt, Chuck?
Yeah, so why asphalt? I mean, again, it's smooth,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
It's easy to maintain.
Yep.
It's ease of construction, or I should say speed of construction.
Both. It
Both.
should be, yeah.
Yeah. And it's sustainable. It's
Yep.
the most recycled. When we recycle our pavements, it's the most recycled product in the world.
Yep.
More than glass and aluminum and everything.
Combined.
Combined.
I believe, yeah.
So, and the value for it, I mean, the value that you get is really and truly enormous. That I think that's probably the more sustainable, and the value that you get for asphalt is really, I mean, again, 93 or 94% of all the pavements are flexible. Flexible pavements.
And that's a big deal. So, ease of construction, all that other kind of stuff. I mean, there's a parking lot going, or
Right
a driveway
there.
going in here. There's a road right up here we're going to turn on that was just reconstructed. It was an older pavement, just a 2-lane road coming into. We're driving through beautiful Buda right now, where Tack is, and we're just fixing to get on a reconstruct of this old pavement right here.
Yep.
And
It needed it.
it was just wore out. It just wore out. It took all the quarry, all the plant stuff coming out of Buda, and now there's a bypass. And so now that they've redone this into a nice smooth asphalt pavement, still got a layer to go on it.
Yep.
But man, they did this fast, and it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Again, one more lift to go. Doesn't have his final paint on it, and we haven't matched up curbs yet, but they've got everything else kind of locked in here. So
Looks like it's they're just doing all their ditch work and getting
Yep.
everything ready for.
yeah, and they've redone this whole
area.
segment, which again was an old pavement that had, it's now it was an area there really wasn't much, but over the years there's cement mills and all kinds of stuff.
And the thing about this is they built this under traffic.
Yeah.
So that's the other aspect of it,
Yeah.
you know, for the benefits that they built all this under traffic.
Yeah, and there was, I mean, I drive this road every day.
Look
and
at all these trucks coming
and,
through
yeah,
here.
I know, and this was everything that was going downtown. And actually, this weekend we're getting a stoplight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're
Good.
getting, woohoo, we are moving up, baby.
I like it.
Butte is moving up. We're getting another stoplight. All right, so, all right, asphalt's good, right? We all know that. Everybody, repeat after me. Asphalt's good. So I want to talk about the bid development process,
Right.
And I know that's something that we normally don't talk about. A lot of people normally don't talk about. When we were putting this thing together, and the idea behind this, we kind of started talking about this in the fall of last year, and was at a meeting this spring or this winter with our counterparts in Dale Williams from Missouri. I'll give a shout out to Dale. Dale had a brand new document, and I go, Dale, that's exactly what we're working on.
Yep.
And so he shared what he was doing with us, and then we kind of let us steal a little bit of his stuff, and so now we've got a brand new document, and I won't, I don't know whose is better, but we'll
Ours is pretty good.
Ours is pretty darn good. We like it a lot.
We got a lot of information in here, and like you said, the bid development process.
Yeah. So tell me about the process there,
Yeah.
because again, it's that, if everybody's kind of doing it differently, and if you've never really been taught how to do that, if you've never been on your side of it,
Right.
what are you guys looking for?
Yeah. So we really and truly look for a well-defined scope of work.
What does that mean?
That means I need to know exactly what I'm responsible for.
Okay.
And that's whether I'm a subcontractor or a prime contractor. I need to know exactly what I am responsible for and what your requirements are, right?
So more than just give me an asphalt overlay,
Yes.
I need a little bit more than that.
Yeah, you got to tell me areas, you got to tell me tonnages, you got to give
From
me
Main Street to Elm Street.
absolutely. You got to give me
I want it 2 inches thick. I want a certain mix type. I want a certain width. I want you to do the certain kind of preparation. That's that scope.
It's well defined.
Well-defined scope of work.
Yeah,
in the process.
The better the definition of work is, the better that you're going to get pricing wise. The owner's going to get a better pricing with a better scope of work.
Less risk.
Less risk. Again, the contractor, they're taking all the risk, right? So let's take some of the risk away and say, hey, we want a 2-inch overlay.
Okay.
We expect it to be from point A to point B.
Right.
We're looking at so many square yards or so many tons that are going to be in that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
And we want to make sure that when we talk about scope of work also, like we're looking at all the striping and all the buttons and everything on the roadway, those need to have bid items. Those need not be subsidiary or need not be, saying we need to really map it out.
You want to pay for it.
You want to pay for it.
You want to pay for it.
Yep, scope of work, and then a current specification, a specification that we know that we're working with, and that we're all familiar with,
Right.
that we're dealing with. The
Gotcha.
specification, we got to have a specification, a good specification.
Okay, cool.
So-
cool. All right, so we got that part. That's kind of the non-technical part of the whole deal.
Right.
Well, there is a technical part, because in that designing of the pavement to figure out what I need, what I'm going to do, you've got a couple aspects of it. You've got a roadway design aspect, which is geometrics and slope and barriers and widths and all that sort of stuff, and then you've got the actual pavement design thickness that's out there. But even before all that, what's underneath it, right?
Yeah.
So in the book in there, on that, if you can kind of hold up, we'll show you. We'll put these links up on the page. The one that's got the QR codes in it, Chuck.
Oh yeah.
And the one thing that's kind of cool about this document, we've got a bunch of embedded QR codes in here that if you're just having it, you can kind of see.
You see that QR code up here?
It's a little bright, but we'll get you to the links for it.
Right.
But there's a link to some software in there, some pavement design software. That's not a TechStat software, but it's design that's been around a long time. It's called Pave Express.
Pave Express.
It's free. It's an online software. It's based on the old AASHTO guide, which is a good solid guide, particularly for these applications. And In addition to that, they've got a whole instructional series that goes with it. So it's called Pave Instruct. If you click on that link, it'll get you to that location, and you can look at all that stuff. So you're not out there going, well, how thick should it be? You know, and we can actually do some math and do some creativity.
You got some pretty good QR codes in here for that, and not only for that one, but for some other documents that are going to really help out for you.
The other document is the pavement distress identification manual, which is an old long-term pavement performance manual. It goes way back to the 90s.
But it's still applicable.
It's still really good. Of all the ones I've ever seen, I still think this is the best one out there. And there's a link there, you can download that. It's got pictures of all the different distresses. It's got severities. So you can use that, or you can send people out in the field and they can use that document to say, okay, here's a distress and I think it's this level severity, and I can mark all that down. And then when you get back and you're starting to develop, okay, here's my plan of action.
Right.
What are we going to repair?
Yep.
What do we need to repair? What do we got to repair in order for when we do our overlay, everything's going to work
and
well.
Again, that was really this surface conditioning. It's really a great document to be able to go out there and actually give a score to your pavements, and then pick the scores out of you after you get the scores through your pavements. Then you go through there and you can plan and budget your maintenance. You can plan and budget. Again, the best thing to do is catch things early.
Oh, for sure.
And because that's the cheapest, right?
Yep.
When you let them go too far, that's when we get into trouble. But again, that QR code right here, this is just really cool that you have that in here in this design guide.
That's cool. That's cool. So, yeah, I just think there's a lot of power in there. Again, got trucks everywhere here. This place is just. And he needs to kind of put his tarp on a bit more. Anyway, so let's continue on. The next phase of that thing is actually what mix do I use?
Yeah, mix selection.
Now, Texas has got a lot of different mixes, and the mixes have changed a lot in the last few years, in the last 20 years or so. And you know, it's unfortunate sometimes when we do work with cities and counties, and if you'd like us to help you out. We'd be glad to try to help you out in any way that we can. Just feel free to reach out to us. But we've seen specifications that go back to the 90s.
90s, yeah.
That are using, sieves and compactors that we're not even using anymore.
Right.
And so I really think it's the one thing that's constant about asphalt is the continuous improvement over the years. And so even 5 years ago, the spec now that we have is different from that. So I think the what we did in this process, I got a green light here, hang on a second, I want to turn the corner, is we looked at that, and a lot of our members looked at it and go, man, it would be nice if we had one spec, one municipal spec. So we said, well, okay, let's take a shot at it. So what we did is, if you don't know, the 24 book of the TxDOT specification is out.
It's digitally out,
Digitally out now. They're printing it as we speak, I believe.
Yep.
And it's going to start on projects in September, so a couple months away. But what we did is we looked at the basic material spec, which is the 341 dense graded mix. And we could say, for most of the cities and counties, for most of the applications, that's a fine asphalt. That is absolutely a great asphalt. People are used to making it. It's consistent. Everybody knows what to do with it. It's not some exotic thing. And so what we did is TxAPA and a group of our folks took that and we started looking at it and say, okay, what do we really need in this specification? Because there's a lot in there.
There's a lot in there.
And so we took I think it was a 32-page spec and got it down to about 20 pages. So it's still 20 pages, but it's a lot less than it used to be.
Yeah.
But we stripped out and just tried to get down to the essence of that.
Yeah.
And so, what's your thought on that? Do you think that's going to help?
I'm hoping that it does. I mean, we just published it. Like I said a couple of weeks ago at MAPS. This is what this designs guide's all about. Is utilizing that specification, and again, that specification has all the new technology. It has all the new performance tests. You know, it has our performance test to verify that we're getting good quality materials out there.
Yeah, it's not your father's asphalt.
The other aspect of that, it's not the other aspect about that is that we did fall back to the fact that you have to be certified to be able to do the testing on it. You know, some of these cities and entities, these smaller entities, their specification did not require you to be certified to do any of the testing.
I was talking to one last week on that.
And so now you have to go through and become certified and qualified to be able to perform these tests.
So if you're sampling or you're testing this material, we want to make sure those test results represent the quality of the material that's out there.
Yeah.
And I remember Dr. John Epps years and years ago, he said 70% of the test result can be on the sampling and the testing technique.
Yeah.
And we really need to be looking at the asphalt content or the air voids or whatever we're looking at. And so that's a big challenge. So it does that as well. And so there's a link there in the book that's also on the website, texasasphalt.org, under resources, under pavement design. It's in there as well.
Right there.
And so you can look at that. Again, just want to make sure you guys know this is not a TxDOT spec.
It is not a TxDOT spec.
This is not a TxDOT spec. It looks like a TxDOT spec, but it's not a TxDOT spec, not to be used on TxDOT jobs. But the one thing that we have right in there at the beginning is you can use TxDOT mixes. You can use approved TxDOT mixes if you've already got them. So they're right there at the beginning. It talks about 341, 344, which are the new old numbers from TxDOT. They're getting away from special spec 3076 and 3077 and reverting back to the original numbers in the 24 book. So there's another little change. What's old, what's new, or what's old shall be new again.
But I think it's real important that again, the uniformity, and like you said at the very beginning of the specification, if you do have an approved TxDOT mix, it will meet this spec. It will meet this spec.
Good.
So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The other aspect about this is that there's been a lot of changes, like you said, just in the last 5 years, with the way that we design the mixes. So some of the old specifications required to use the Texas gyratory press to utilize and design, and we just don't have them anymore. They're not even available. So now we're going to revert back to the super pave gyratory press, which
is a good thing.
Everybody has them, and everybody's been using them. It's just that some of the old specifications still revert back to the Texas gyratory press.
So if you have the old spec, here's an opportunity to kind of upgrade. And get it, because most everybody is already using that. I mean, everybody's already using that spec, as Chuck said. So,
and we're not having to reinvent the wheel. The wheel's invented. You can utilize it and feel comfortable about it, and feel confident that you're getting good quality material. And the other also production and placement.
Yeah, and just people, gyratory. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Well, basically the difference, it's how the material is compacted in the lab. But effectively to you, that's a couple tenths more asphalt, and that's more life. So if you want to net it down to just some very basic terms, moving from the Texas gyratory to the super paved gyratory is going to give you a longer life pavement just because it's got more asphalt in it. So that's a plus. We need to do that. We need to not under asphalt our mixes and all that. So a great opportunity there, just again to do a little bit of upgrade.
Yeah, it's I like the spec. I think that it's and again, it's been vetted by a lot of people. We've had a lot of people involved in it, from industry, from the AGC even vet it. So we've had a lot of people vet the specification.
And it's starting to get out there
already. We're trying to get it out there. Now again, this is a living, breathing document. Some cities,
just like any spec will be.
Just like any spec will be. Some cities might say, hey, we don't need this, or we want to add this. You can do that through special specifications,
but don't go crazy.
Yeah, don't go crazy. I think we did a pretty good job. Let it try to be able to be the way that it's written.
And I think
it the way
the
that
other
it's written.
thing about, so, well, give me the latest and greatest, and in, many cases, you're going to pay for that.
Yeah.
Or, upsize me or supersize me. We see specifications requiring, upgraded binder content, binder types, and that sort of stuff in situations where they don't really need it, and then you're wasting money. From that perspective, so you're not really getting the bang for the buck or the benefit out of it. So, the mix itself, again, we can change the binder if we need to based on the traffic type. So that's discussed in the document, and based on the amount of volume of traffic, the amount of trucks you've got, if you can go from a base binder and you can go up into a modified binder from like a 6422 to a 7022 to a 7622. In layman terms, that just means the binder's stronger, which means the mix will be stronger.
Yep.
So
with all these dump trucks coming up and down, if you had a farm to market road, and then all of a sudden they put an Apple storage facility or an Amazon storage facility, you're going to have to upgrade your roadway.
And that's, I think, one of the cool things about asphalt is we don't have to reinvent it. We can just adjust it.
Yep.
And so and all that stuff, all those advanced binders are available. But we want to have enough tonnage to do it. Don't specify 5 tons of 7622, and that doesn't
work.
That doesn't really work very well. So anyway, good stuff there. Yeah, we talked about mix, but again, you can other mix types, and again, we think for the majority of the applications that municipalities are going to be working with, the dense graded 341M is going to be a great specification. If you need to go up, you can advance. Again, TxDOT's got a lot of different mix types out there, but before you do that, just maybe give somebody a call. Give us a call if you want, and we can help talk you through it. We're not going to talk you in or out of something. We just want to make sure that you understand all the ramifications of that. And sometimes there's some unintended consequences of doing certain things, and we just want to make sure you're aware of that, before you go down the road, and make sure make sure you're getting value, and make sure you're getting, good quality mix out there that's going to carry the load that you need it to carry. So, what else we got? So what else is bidding documents?
Yep,
okay.
Bidding documents. That's probably something that everybody should be taking a look at. If you're a city or a county or
we don't really talk about that much at all.
We really don't. We talk more about the materials and the constructability or construction on it, but the bidding documents are so important. We really and truly, for you guys to get the best bang for your buck, is to pay more attention at your bidding documents. Again, when you take the risk away from the contractor and I don't want to say expose it, but you expose the risk. You have items for it. That's one of the things in the new spec, Jim, that we found that we really needed to do, and that is have Tack code as a bid item and not subsidiary to the bid. Most of the failures that we've seen in forensics is that the fact that we're not getting a good bond between the lifts.
It's one of those areas, folks, that we probably need to do a whole show just on Tack code.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't think we don't need Tack, or this or that, and boy, howdy do we. We really do. No, we don't need to go overboard with it.
No.
But we need to make sure we're gluing those layers together so they work as intended. And if they don't do that, well then they debond, and they slip, and then the load gets transferred all the way through the pavement, and all of a sudden we've got
just right here.
We have a pavement failure
right there,
and
coming into a stoplight. I'm telling you, it's from debonding.
Intersections, you've got real high shear stresses going on, etc.
But I can't stress enough that having a bid item for Tack code is going to not only going to give you better quality pavements, but it's going to, again, you're taking away the unknown, right?
Correct.
The contractor doesn't have to guess. You put up whatever that quantity is, he bids it, and then we know what our budget's going to be. We know how much money that's going to be in that item.
Right.
Same thing with striping. Anything that you cannot put as subsidiary, put a bid item for it. It's going to save you money in the long run.
In the long run,
it really will.
Okay.
And also, it's going to help. It's going to help with any kind of argument.
It's like a false. Thing. It's like, well, if I just put it in there, then they'll cover it. But if I'm paying for it, I know I'm getting it, and then I can have that, I can have that comfort index that says, yes, I paid for a certain amount of gallons. That's a certain, film thickness or thickness of material that I'm looking for, and that's going to help me in the long run, in the big scheme of things. So I think that's just it's like, oh, it's another bid. No, it's not really. You're just controlling your destiny a little bit more from that perspective.
Right,
So,
and if we need milling, we need to put an item for milling.
Yeah.
If you said, hey, how am I going to tie these two roadways in? We're going to butt mill, or we're going to mill into that.
Really important.
That needs to be a bid item, so that we can we put a price to it, but the owner is able to look at that price and able to understand, hey, this is going to cost money. You know, so milling is another one. Of course, any kind of barricades or any kind of traffic control, if we have a bid item for those items,
right,
it's, again, the contractor knows what's expected, not going to be blindsided by anybody, and the owner says, hey, listen, we had a bid item for it, you got to know you're going to have to do it, right? So those are the kind of things that we really should be taking a look at.
Let's back up even further from that. We've got, base repair, how deep that base repair is going to be. We've got maybe, milling in certain areas, that's a big deal. We've got areas where we're trying to maybe do some level up or some fill in some lows or trying to improve the ride. All those areas. Hang on a second. What's going on here? All right. All those areas just help us understand what the goal is on the job site. Oh, this is brand new.
Brand new pavement. Look at that.
Hot dog. I didn't even know they did this section.
Yeah, it looked like they just got finished doing it.
Okay. Yeah, it's brand new.
Yeah, it looks nice. It got some nice stripe.
Joint.
Yeah, nice joint.
Good texture. There we go. Asphalt for the win. All right. So what else we've got? Documents. Anything else from a contractor's perspective on the documents? In the book there, we've got some sample bid items in there, and again, that's not everything or anything in there. It's just some ideas in there.
It's some of the stuff
it's some of the stuff that's in there. So don't be scared of it. But again, you're just saying, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and this is what I'm trying to get.
Right.
And then you can get what you're paying for.
Right. And again, it's the expectations. If you have an existing roadway and you're expecting it to last 15 years and you're expecting it to be smooth and you're expecting, then by golly, put the tools in the toolbox, put the items in there to be able to do the repairs, like you said. Let's make sure that we have the correct mix, make sure that we have the correct type of mix. And again, 341M, there's different types of mixes in there. We have a dense, we have a different sizes,
different thicknesses.
Different thicknesses for different sizes. So most definitely take a look at that. Make sure that we have bid items for it, of course.
Okay, and this is what the road looked like before. And much improved.
Absolutely.
Much improved. Yeah. So I think the other thing I want to chat just briefly about is tons versus square yards.
Yes.
Because I know TxDOT pays by the ton, and there's a lot of agencies pay by the square yards. Let's talk about what's happening when you pay one versus the other. Right? And so, to me, when the paver wants to lay smooth, that's how the paver is designed to do that. The paver doesn't want to lay 1 inch of material. Okay, we want to try to make the road smoother. That's one of the reasons typically we're out there trying to do some work on it. There may be some roughness in there because ground settles in Texas, who knew that? But I think when you pay by the ton, again, you're getting what you're paying for. If you pay by the square yard and I want 1 inch, the only way to do that from a contractor's perspective is there's going to be areas out there that are going to be less than 1 inch.
Yeah.
And that's maybe where we see some failures. And so if you pay 1 inch, you're going to get 1 inch. Yeah. You're going to get a true inch, and you're going to improve the ride. So that's my. What's your?
I'm again that the risk by the square yard is again it's thicknesses. You know, do I build into my bid an overrun? Do I build into my bid the fact that, again, it's the expectation. If you want something that's going to be smooth and long lasting, right?
Right.
You know, the best way to be able to do that is bid it by the ton. And it's the composite ton, and that way we'll all know where we're at. And we can control yield. You can, you know, even
you check it out. You check it a number of times a day. You check it every day. You're not gonna. If you get in a situation where you way overrun, that just means we haven't kept in control on it. And a good inspector is going to be able to do your yields and spread rates and be able to understand what's going on there and keep things tight. But it's probably not a bad idea to do a little bit of overrun just to handle maybe those little whoops and doops that you're going to run into, and then not run into problems making choices. Do I want it smooth?
Yeah.
Or do I just want to get the bare minimum out there?
Get the bare minimum. And again, I'm a firm believer that I think you're going to get a better product. You're going to get a better overall product with the correct bid items, correct materials, of course. Yeah. And with the and bidding it by the ton, and bidding tack by the gallon. Those are the two. Tack by the gallon,
mixed by the ton.
So yeah, I think that's going to help overall the overall quality of the product.
Good deal.
So
good deal.
But this is a great program, a great manual.
So how do I get it, Chuck?
So you can get it several ways. We can go on our resource. We can go on our website, texasasphalt.org.
Right.
There's a tab called Resource tab.
Yep.
And it's laid right there in the resource
click
tab.
on the resource tab. It's right there in the middle under Pavement Design Guide. So right in the middle of the page there. So you're not going to miss that.
That's your digital. That's your digital.
What if I'm old school? I want a paper copy.
Paper copy, just email us.
Okay.
Our email addresses are on our website, texasasphalt.org, and we will get you a hard copy of it. And we're going to carry hard copies with us when we're going on our different adventures. I believe I'm going to be, we got different cities that are asking for us to come and talk to them about this and about also working with their crews.
And if you'd like us to come talk to you about it,
just give us a holler. And we'll come to you. And like I said, we've been to several. We've been to San Marcos and San Antonio, Austin. So we've been to several different cities and counties. We've been to Comel, Fort Bend. So we've been to a bunch of different cities and counties working with them.
And more planned.
Yep. And more planned.
Got a couple emails this week.
Got a couple emails this week that we're going to get lined out. But we're going to bring these with us. And when we come see you, and we'll get you some hard copies of this.
We'll get you set up.
And get you set up with 341M and being able to get a uniform specification.
Good deal.
And kind of go from there.
Awesome. So, great opportunities there, folks. Please take advantage of it. We just think it's going to help. I think it's going to. We think it helps everybody. It'll help you get a better value, get the right mix in the right place. Helps our contractors when they're bidding the work. They understand what's going on, and they're understanding how to bid it and to give you best value. And if they don't have to keep switching mixes all day long, when that plant is up and running, making the same mix all day, that is the best thing for the contractor, because they can really focus there on fine-tuning that in for quality. So good deal. All right, couple questions. What else?
Well, really good thing about this is that it's compact. There's only 16 pages. I mean, it's got a lot of information just in 16 pages, so it's really, really compact and has a lot of...
But every one of those items in there are important.
Very important.
Every one of those items, the proper bid documents, the proper pavement preparation, the proper surface preparation, looking at the pavement that's out there. If you need help with doing some geotech, which figuring out what's underneath your pavement, we've got some great consultants out there, great members of ours that are consultants out there that can help you with that as well.
Absolutely.
If you have questions about what you're doing, feel free to reach out. Reach out to your local contractor. Say, hey, we're thinking about doing this. What's your thoughts? And even before you get to the bid table. And so that's all good stuff too. So couple last questions, Chuck. I always try to throw this out on Everyday Asphalt. So, what's quality mean to you?
Yeah, quality for me. It's
for your definition.
My definition is smooth.
Okay.
Joints in the right spot.
Okay.
And straight joints.
Straight joints. Yeah.
Yeah. And anytime we have a transition like this,
Yeah.
if we got a nice smooth transition, I know that those individuals paid attention to building that transition.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what quality is: smooth, quiet, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to prove itself to be durable.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
That's my definition of quality.
Good deal. All right, I'm gonna make you king for a day. You get to change anything.
Anything.
What do you want?
Wow, that's a good one. If I was king for the day and I could change anything, I think I would probably have, at the end of the shift or the beginning of the next shift, have the crews talk about what they just did. Whether it's 5 tons or 5,000 tons. How did we do? And what can we do safely, right? Are we, first of all, safe? And second of all, what could we improve on? Or are we perfect? If I could just get the crews to communicate amongst themselves every single day on what we've done today and what we're going to do tomorrow, that we can, again, safely produce and place quality hot mix, whether it's 5 tons or 500 tons. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
That would be my king for the day.
All right.
You know,
I think they call that a debrief.
they call that a debrief.
I think that's your thing anyway.
That's my thing, is debrief.
But you've been consistent about it.
I have been. I'm a firm believer that if we would have talked about it and we find out what we did wrong, or if we have an issue and we fix that issue the next day, we're winners.
There you go.
If we do the same thing over and over and over again, then I have an issue with that.
Gotcha.
I want to debrief. I want to be able to talk about it. And it's communication. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
So,
well, good deal. Well, thank you so much, Chuck. Always a pleasure.
appreciate it.
And,
Appreciate you driving safely.
Being in the truck today with me, and we haven't had any issues today. So,
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Out here driving on some asphalt. So
I appreciate you being safe driving.
Just a reminder, again, all these programs are posted on our YouTube channel, typically the day after this airs, third Thursday of the month at 3 o'clock. Remember, we're also on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And we look forward to seeing you next time on Everyday Asphalt. Be safe, everybody, and take care. We'll see you next time.